Hello, good morning. It is morning here. It's a bright, beautiful, cheerful morning and I love it. Been out with my little dog bright and early, been up since about 5. Went out just after 6, very windy, 6 o'clock, 6:15. Very windy but very, very sunny. So Mr. Solarface is doing his thing, which is absolutely wonderful, as he should really, shouldn't he, in bloody July. I think this summer's taken a while, to sort of come to fruition really. It's kind of stop, start, a little bit all over the place, I tells you. But it's a beautiful day today, lovely. So, this is my premiere. I'm going to do a premiere, I decided, because for 2 reasons. I'm going to roll a fag while I do this, quickly. This is just to introduce you to the premiere. For 2 reasons really. Number one is I like to chat to people in the chat room. So obviously when I do a premiere, it means I'm recording this now whenever this is, but we can talk live in the chat area, can't we? Which I really like, because I don't do live videos. I don't know how to be honest, but I don't do live videos, so I do live chat. So, any questions, anything you want to know, whatever, or just say hello in the chat room, wherever it may be. It's kind of down there, I think. So I'm going to roll a fag while we have a little chat. Now, I've got some fairly exciting news. Probably more exciting for me than it is for you. For the regular viewers, if you cast your mind back over the last 2 years, I have mentioned just in passing, I haven't deliberated on it, I haven't done a video about it, I haven't done anything much, but I've mentioned on and off that I'm writing a book. Well, I still am writing a book. I haven't completed it, I haven't finished it yet, but I'm getting somewhere towards completion. Maybe even just a few weeks away. Taking like 2 years to do really. It's a long time and it's not going to be a very big book. So anyway, my question to you is, would you be interested in reading my book? I'm not going to do too many. I'm self-publishing, so I'm only going to get a certain number done. And once they're done, they're done. I'm not going to... It's not a thing that I want to make a load of money out of or anything like that. That's not the point. I'll just check I turn my mic on. Yes. Hello. You can hear my dulcet tones. Otherwise, I'd be sat here going... Wouldn't I? Okay, so my book. I suppose how to summarise my book is probably a companion to this channel, The Ramblings of Bry. It's, if you like some of my videos, then you might like the book. The idea of doing the book, or the costing of doing the book, I think I'm going to sell them cheap. I think I'm going to do them at £10 each, okay? And if you really can't afford £10, send me a message and tell me how much you can afford and we'll do it for that price. Because I'd like people to read a few of my words, really. Particularly those that really, really do want to. But if you're skint, you're skint. You can't help that sometimes. So, The Ramblings of Bry book, and that's probably going to be its title really. I haven't settled on the title, but I'm sure it's going to be nothing more heavier than that. The book is heavy in parts, heavy in probably intellectual property really, rather than certainly not in weight. As I say, it's not going to be a thick book. It won't take long to read, but it may be interesting and may give you a few things to think about. may give you a little bit of an insight into who I am as a person, my thoughts and things like that. Yeah, it might be interesting. If you're not interested, you're not interested. Some people don't like to read, and I get that. You know, some people are not interested. You know, we watch YouTube videos, we watch them just to be entertained, don't we, really? That's why I watch a video of anybody, really, just entertainment value. Would I want to read about them and their life and their deeper thoughts and all the rest of it? I don't know, maybe if I like the person, maybe if I thought they had something more to add, then yes, maybe. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's why I watch YouTube, is to be entertained. It whittles away an hour or two of the day, and it's a nice thing, you know, because it's far better than something like television, which is like their programs programming you, their programs programming you, you know. YouTube is just real people chatting about their real lives. And there's no cost there. I know a lot of people are doing this Patreon and stuff like that, but you know, you don't have to belong to that. I know you miss out if you don't belong. There's a couple of channels I follow, and they keep saying about Patreon, you know, like and subscribe and become a Patreon, and then you'll see all the additional videos. And that's a real shame that you don't get to see the videos unless you want to pay. But Patreon to me is just another television license, which is why I don't do it. Don't see the point in it, really. You know, it costs nothing to make a video. So how much you want back? What you actually want back is a little bit of feedback, a few comments, and that's about it, really. You know, and to know that people have enjoyed an hour with you or 10 minutes with you, whatever your video may be, that is reward enough, I think. You know, so yeah, my book is just, it's probably just a collection of my thoughts, a few pearls of wisdom, if you like, a little bit of sort of advice, you know, if you're struggling with whatever, depression or grief or, did you hear that? That's my washing machine done. Thank you, washing machine. Need to go in a minute and hang my washing out. It's a beautiful day. It's a bit blowy, but beautiful drying weather, isn't it? Bit blowy, but it's so warm. Mr. Solarface is really doing the business. There's a few fluffy white clouds whizzing past because it's windy. They're sort of moving quite quickly. But on the whole, it's very, very sunny and quite windy. Beautiful day. It's a day where you feel alive. You know, sometimes you need this. You need this day of kind of crazy weather in a way. You know, I mean, these trees are blowing and bending and stuff like that. Absolutely wonderful. We need that, and it helps to blow the cobwebs away. That's what I find, you know. And if you can get outside, get outside. You know, it's any time of the year is beautiful to be outside, but certain days of certain seasons just make you feel alive, and it's this sort of day that we've got now. Blowy, bright, you know, it just, the energy of the day, I mean, there's a lot of energy out there, and you can feel that seeping into your soul if you allow it, you know. Absolutely wonderful. So we will be going out again today in a couple more hours, I think, really. Let Bodhi recover and let me recover. I need to make a Slurpee, hang my washing out and do a couple of little jobs, and then we're ready to go out again. But in the meantime, I thought I'd make this sort of 15-minute video, whatever it's going to be, just as a start of the premiere. So I've mentioned my book. So the question is, would you be interested in reading a book from me? It'd be nice if I knew sort of rough figures, you know, if 5 people said yes or 10 people, whatever it may be. Then I know, because I'm self-publishing, it'd be nice to be able to get 5 or 10 or 20 done, if you know what I mean. Okay, so that's the start of the premiere, and we will be back at some stage during the week. I'll make a few more little clips and bits and bobs to put on here. And in the meantime, have a fantastic week. You won't see this until the end of the week, But I hope you have had a fantastic week. And yeah, and we do a premiere on Thursday or Friday, something like that. Take care then. Cheers. And be well. Ta then. Hello. Oh, it's a warm day. Now, I teased people last week with this. Oh, I had a number of people said, you fooled me completely, you bald-headed country boy. That's what they said, something like that anyway. Yeah, I teased people just for a bit of a laugh. I should have done it on the 1st of April, but I never thought about that. I'm hot and sweaty, we're just back in. Oh, it's a very, very warm day here, so I hope everybody's coping okay as you possibly can anyway. Craziness of the weather, isn't it, eh? One day rain, one day wind, one day sun, whatever. It's kind of this time of year. I remember when I was a kid, we used to have long, hot summers. Maybe it just seemed like that, though. Maybe, I don't know. I do remember the summer of 1976, and it was absolutely piping hot, really piping hot. Two things I remember about that year, in particular, are I used to walk barefooted nearly all the time back then, and I still like to. Oh, someone's going to knock at the door now. No, he ain't. He's gone away. That's good. I thought Bodie would go mad, you know. So I used to walk barefooted. This is summer of 1976, and I remember the tarmac on the roads. You know that you've got these concrete roads, and they do a little bit of tarmac here, there, and everywhere. It bubbled. And we used to pop them. We used to walk with my toes and pop, pop, pop. And they used to go really clack, clack, like that. So I do remember that. And I remember my mum went to hang the washing out. And for some reason, I just sort of looked out the window and she was laid on the floor. And I went running around there. She'd fainted. And managed to sort of scoop her up, bless her, bring her in and get some cold water into her and flannel on her face and all the rest of it, bless her. We didn't even have a fan, you know, we was quite poor, but we didn't even have a fan. We used to open up the windows and hope for the bloody best. So I got a tea towel from the kitchen. I was fanning her and putting water on her and fanning her, and, you know, she came to and she said, I just felt so dizzy that she said she put her arms out and try and save herself, and clunk, she went down. Didn't hurt herself, luckily. We had a concrete path, but it was about a foot, and it was all the way about 60 foot the length of the garden, but only about a foot wide. And in some places where the earth had sort of given, there was these wells, so you got that much concrete, literally 4, 5, 6 inches of concrete. She could have cracked her head or whatever on the side of that and didn't. Luckily she hit the grass, so soft landing for her, but yeah, a bit of a shock, I suppose, for her as well as me, you know. That was summer 76. And I think probably around about that time, really, we were talking about the weather, how hot it was and what have you. And my mum said, it's everybody moans about the winter, but wouldn't it be lovely to have a day of snow right now? Crazy, but yeah, wouldn't it? That in the middle of August of 1976, if it just snowed on the 15th of August, just for the day, how wonderful, you know. And she was saying that, obviously, my mum was born in 1934, and she remembers very well, you know, different seasons, how they changed and stuff like that. And I was born in 62, and the year after, 1963, it snowed about 6 to 7 foot deep. Incredible it was, you know, rivers froze over and it went on and on and on. She said that some parts, it started snowing in October, some parts were still frozen in May. That's incredible. You'd have to do your research, have a look at the photos or whatever, but 1963, she said. That's absolutely incredible. She nearly died then, 1963. My real father was a bastard, and he ran out of tobacco one evening, It was a winter. Loads of snow had settled over days, weeks probably, and it was snowing heavily, and he forced my mum to go down the pub and get him some baccy. So she went down there, got him some baccy, and on the way back, the council had cleared the roads, but only one narrow lane. And she was walking in this narrow lane, and there's a long straight before she can go anywhere, and a bus came behind her. And her coat was dark, she said, and she was waving and stuff like that. She had nowhere really to go. And just as the bus came, right, 4, 5, 6 feet away from her, she just managed to shove herself in the snow, and just lay there, stand there against the snow as the bus literally brushed past her. Yeah. Excuse me, she could have died that day quite easily. Talking about deaths and buses, this is cheerful, Bri. I had a cousin called Stephen. Don't know much about Stephen, but all I know is he had learning difficulties, whatever that may be. It may be autism or whatever now, but back then when I was a child, it was just learning difficulties. In fact, they said he was slow Stephen. Bit awful, but that's what they called him, Slow Stephen. And they lived in London, and he got on a bus with his mum. He was 9. And he always used to hold his mum's hand, even at 9, because obviously he's slow, he's learning, whatever. He used to hold his mum's hand. And as mum got on the bus, he went to step on, holding mum's hand, and the bus driver shut the door, trapping his hand in the door, which obviously released mum. Mum sort of fell in, and then the bus driver took off, and she was shouting, "Stop, stop, stop." And he did, but by then he'd run over Stephen and killed him. 9 years old, bless him, my little cousin Stephen. Slow Stephen, they said. It's awful, isn't it, really? But life is not guaranteed for you, for me, for anybody. Life isn't guaranteed. It's why I think we've got to make the most of it, really. It's a funny life, really. Awful things can happen to people. And we're so blessed and grateful. We've got the privilege of living a longer life than many. I've had a friend who died at 27. That's no age whatsoever. Anyway, this is on my eBay, if you want to have a look. There we go. So, yeah, we're doing well. This is the premiere, so let's have a chat in the chat room, shall we? I mentioned about my book in the first sort of segment. I'm not sure when that's going to be done, if I'm honest. I'm not going to rush it. I still need to think things through on certain bits. It's funny, actually, when you're writing a book, and most of the time you're sat thinking. It really is thinking, deeply thinking. Do I need to put this in? How do I want to word it? Could I word it better? And then I'll write it, and I'll read it, and then I deliberate on it. I think about it. I think, could I have said that in a more concise way, a better way, a different way? Have I already said that in a different section of the book? And a lot of it is thinking, and it's a funny old situation, really, writing a book, to be honest. But anyway, I mentioned in the first segment, just let me know if you're interested. Lots of different ways. People can contact me in lots of different ways. We all know the ways, don't we, really? Or leave a comment underneath this video, or say now in the chat. Or if you're catching this at some later date, then obviously leave a comment if you are interested. If you're not, that's absolutely fine. I make these videos to empty my head, and in many respects I've made the book to empty my head as well, but on a deeper level. So the book is on a much deeper level, I think, than most of my videos, although some of my videos have obviously been not necessarily well thought out, but the message is quite strong, quite powerful. When I'm talking about calm, campaign against living miserably, suicide, grief, things like that, when I'm talking about powerful subjects, I find that not a lot of people do that. You know, the channels that I used to watch, going back, they're very samey now. Often they're very samey. They're just doing the same sort of thing. They don't really talk about anything much, or certainly nothing to grab my attention. You know, I often think, I wish you'd talk about something more spiritual, or talk about your, I don't know, life and what it means to you, you know, what you've added to life or what you've taken from life, what you can give to life, what you feel about life, what are your thoughts, your ideas, your opinions. And often you don't get that with certain channels that I have been following for a long time. I've stopped following some channels as well because that is the nature of YouTube, or I think it should be. And I found some new channels, which is fantastic. One of the new channels, I don't know his name, so sorry, I can't tell you. New to me channels, there's a couple, but there's a guy in somewhere in America, and he does this wood carving, tiny little Dremels and chisels and things. And you know, he does a big lump of wood, and then it's a walking stick with a snake around it, chasing a mouse. You've seen that sort of thing probably. Wonderful how he does it, absolutely wonderful. Another channel I watch, it might be called Red Poppy Ranch. Red Poppy Ranch, it might be called that. And it's basically, it's a guy, he's built this house from scratch on his own, virtually on his own. He's got about 4 children, he's got a wife, and they're going to live there full time. He even had to build the road, about a 6-mile road going into the property. Absolutely fascinating to see what he's done, his ideas sort of manifested into this idea of a house. And he's built it. It's such a strong construction, you know, a massive building really. I think there's about maybe 5 bedrooms, 6 bedrooms maybe. 2 or 3 bathrooms, a huge lounge, other rooms, spare rooms, you know. And also many acres of land, which, you know, it's just fascinating. That is fascinating to me. Probably something I would have loved to have done in my life. But I haven't got the skill set, I wouldn't know how. But yeah, I find that interesting. But that's by letting go of other YouTube channels, and then you find new ones to kind of replace them, you know. Again, I can't remember the name of the channel. There's another guy, quite well spoken, bearded guy, and he lives on this little plot of land in basically a little shack, little shed. He's UK, and then he built another shed, and you know, got a few bits of machinery and stuff like that. And he lives off of well water and solar and things like that. You know, grows fruit and veg. Fascinating guy. But I love him, I love his delivery. I think he's an important sort of person on this planet, really. And he's got life sussed. No stress, no hassle, no silliness. Sorry, somebody's banging. Can you hear that? I got all the doors and windows open because it's so hot today. Body's just come rushing in just to tell me there's a terrible noise outside. Anyway. Yeah, there's some great channels out there on YouTube still, you know. I got a bit despondent with it a little while ago. My recommendations, you know, you watch a video and then the recommendations, they're all shouty young kids. You know, I don't understand all this kind of, hello YouTube, and all this fast editing and this rubbish. There is no message. You can't, I'm sitting here talking to you, and I know that a lot of people, when I talk, they say that I'm talking directly to them. So, hello Marion, or Lisa, or John, or whatever your name is, I'm talking to you, just to you. They don't do that. It's kind of, it's all about them and their big ego, I suppose, really. It's all shouting, and cut. Watched somebody the other day, a young lad, must be 20 or something like that. About a 10-minute video, I watched 2 minutes of it, and I bet there was 100 cuts. He would literally say, you know, I'm going to go shopping, and then there was a cut. You know, not for any length of time, it's just an immediate cut. I'm going to go shopping, and then came back on. Well, I'm going to carry it on, but he came back on and he said, I need to get, and then cut. And then he said whatever he needed, and a couple of bits for college, cut like that. And I thought, I can't follow this. I don't know what he's on about. Excuse me. It was, I don't know, goes over my head. There's no intimacy. There's no direct communication or contact. Yeah, I'm looking at you. I'm talking to you. There's none of that. There's no looking into the camera. Not really. It's kind of, and there's noise and shouting and things like that. Can't be bloody doing with it. Can't be bothered, I tells you. Okay, that's it for this bit of a video. We'll add some more on if I can think of some more. Maybe tomorrow or whenever. But you'll see it all in one, obviously. I hope everybody's chatting in the chat room. Say hello if you want to. Hello. Cheers. Be well. Ta-da. Hello. Trying to get sorted. Hello. It's been so hot, unbearably hot. Shouldn't really complain, but it's been very, very hot. Check my mic's on, which it is, so that's good. See this here, I've got this little thing, you have to have it where it's green. If you have it the other way, you won't hear me. Where did that go? Yeah, it's so hot, even now. Tomorrow's going to be hotter, but there you go, see? This is what we're like, us British, we love it. Cheers. The second section that I did of this, I went off on a bit of a tangent about YouTube and never actually got to the point. You probably realised. What I was going to say is that I was talking about my book, and I said if you don't want to read, then that's fine, because you know, a lot of people like vision now. I do. I learn a lot from YouTube. If I want to change a car tyre, not that I could, but if I wanted to, I would do it via YouTube. You learn so much via YouTube, and that's without reading. Obviously, you're just watching. So that's kind of where I was going with that. Also, I was saying that, well, I was going to say, and I kind of didn't because I lost my train of thought. The reasons why I watch YouTube, obviously it's entertainment. That's first and foremost, really. But I think we all watch YouTube for a sense of community and also connection. We live in a world now where we don't really know many people in our street. You know, don't know where you live. You probably know your next door neighbour. Do you know the third house down? Do you know their names? Most people don't. So I think we look for a connection and a community of kind of like-minded souls in some respects, you know. That's kind of one of the reasons why we're watching YouTube videos, perhaps. You know, just thoughts really. So, hot day. It's now cooling down. I'm sat in the shade. It feels a bit sticky though. Just going to come nearer. There we go. What a palaver, isn't it, I tells you. Oh dear. Anyway, people seem to like, when I talk about my travelling days, the people that I met. I tend to get more comments, I've noticed, on that than on anything else. So I thought I would just talk briefly, just for a minute or two, about a couple of people that I've met. A long time ago, probably 2015 maybe, I was in Cumbria, a place that I love, dearly love. And there was an elderly guy. He looked much younger, his face looked much younger, but as he got nearer to me, smartly dressed, really, really well dressed. You know, he was probably late 70s, I'd imagine. Losing my bloody voice. And I said, hello, and he sort of nodded and smiled, and that's fine. We were playing BALL, like you do, and there's a bench overlooking the River Derwent. That's where we were playing, and that's where we were living at the time, in Ishii, obviously. And as I got nearer to, I think I might have told this before, I hope I haven't in a video, but whatever, I'll try and encapsulate. We'll talk about it for 5 minutes. So as I get nearer to the bench, there's 2 great big trees. Can't see anybody there, but then I could hear this man's voice, just talking softly and gently. Anyway, carried on walking, and I thought I wouldn't disturb him. But he was saying something about, I never knew how much I would miss you. I really didn't. I love you. Bless him. And I thought, oh God, you know, we'll walk past. He was on his own. I got nowhere to go but go past. Anyway, he saw me, and I sort of nodded, and he said, oh, hello. And I said, hello. And he said, I hope you don't think I'm stupid, talking to myself. I said, no, not at all. You know, you're doing whatever you want to do, you know. Why would I think that? And he said, my wife died in, I think it was 2002. My wife died in 2002. He said, it's taken me 8 years to get back here. He said, we sat on this very bench, we looked at the scenery, and you know, he had a few smiles. He was telling me about his wife and about what he'd said to her on the bench that made her laugh, and a couple of things where they went to after that, and just a little bit about his life story, really. Lovely, lovely man. And I just listened, you know. And he said again, you know, you probably think I'm stupid. I said, no. I said, please don't apologise, you know. Why would I think you're stupid, you know? And I said, when somebody dies, you know, we lose a lot, obviously, when somebody dies. But what we're left with is that person's love and that person's energy. Wherever we are, that's where that person is. So here today, that's where your wife is. Why wouldn't you talk to her? Of course you would, you know. And I said my mum recently died. In fact, I think she died about a year or maybe slightly less when I met this guy. And I told him, and I said, I speak to my mum. I sat on that very same bench. My mum didn't ever sit there, but my mum's with me wherever. And, you know, we had a lovely, lovely chat. Really, such a nice man. And I said, anyway, look, I'm going to leave you now. It's nice and quiet. You've got all the time in the world. You know, just you and your wife. And he rushed forward off that bench. And he said, thank you so much. And he shook my hand. But he actually rushed like that. Which I found a bit strange. I don't know why he did that. But he actually rushed towards me. And he really held on tight. Thank you so much. He went like that. I mean, I didn't do anything really. Just gave him space. I gave him an ear, perhaps, you know. So yeah, that was him. And I'm sure I've told you about the recluse up in Scotland. Oh my God, that was so lovely. And it's a person that I think of on a regular basis, bless him. We've been pottering around Scotland for a few weeks, you know, and then we were going up to Skye. And somewhere before Skye, there's a lock, and there's a viewing point high, so you can look down on the lock. And there was a couple of cars there. And I pulled in there, and I was taking some photos, and got Bodie out, and we had a little look around. That's the trouble with summer, you get these gnats and flies and things. So, been there 10 minutes, something like that, and a couple of cars went, it just left me on my own, and then another car pulled in, didn't take any notice. Somebody got out, And I sort of turn, and there's this big guy, good 6'4", maybe 6'5", a little bit portly, with his belly showing underneath his t-shirt, bless him. And what I was struck by his look, really, because he was probably mid to late 60s. Yeah, 66, 67, something like that. But he had grey hair and a ponytail, but it actually came down past his arse. And a huge beard, probably as long as my beard is now, right down onto his chest. And what I noticed in particular, he had a very, very long, dirty fingernails. Don't know why I noticed that, but I did. And I just said, beautiful view, mate, innit? And in his very Scottish language, he said, I was driving up here in whatever year it was. See those trees back over there? I think they're Douglas ferns or firs or something. He said the snow was so heavy, they were actually bent like a banana and touching the ground. The tops had actually just gone around and were touching the ground. He said, phenomenal. He said, how I got back that night, I've no idea. So I said, what, was you travelling home from work? And he said, oh, no. He said, I had to go and see somebody. So that's fine. And then he said, his job is taking wildlife photographs. He said, it would be. He said, because I live on the Isle of Skye, what else would I do? And I said, oh, cool. And he said he's a recluse. When his wife died, they bought that little cottage. When she died, he just kept it on. No visitors, no family, no friends, nothing, He's very good on the computer, and he's got a phone. And this particular company, he works for 3 companies, but this particular company that he was working for on that day, photographing the lock, tell him what to do. So they phone him or they email and they say, we need 9 photographs. If you can get this, this and this in, that's lovely, So he goes out for the day or a couple of days and he takes all the photographs, and then he goes back to his studio, manipulates them, does whatever. And then they get sent off to this particular company and he gets paid that way. That's his job. So he doesn't speak to anybody, he doesn't need to see or speak to anybody, And he said, that's why I like it, I'm a recluse. And I said, fine. And then he said, come over here. And he wanted to show me part of the lock. No, I'm a bit rude, right? He said, come over here. He said, just stand there in front of me. And I said, oh no, you're not going to touch me, are you? And he roared with laughter, big belly laugh. He said, what are you like in his Scottish, what are you like? And I said, go on then, what are you going to show me? Anyway, wherever this was, Dave and Lindsay, Desmond Donders, they would know, but there's a lock that looks like the top of Scotland. Wherever that is, somewhere towards Skye, I don't know how far I was. But yeah, what a lovely, lovely man. I think about him often because I think of him, he was just a sweet-natured man. Lovely man. I was pleased and proud to have met him, really. But because he meets nobody, I guarantee he has replayed that conversation that I had with him over and over and over again. I bet he has. I bet he dissects every last word, what I said, how I sounded, perhaps, I don't know, how tall I was, what did I smell, or what I was wearing, or my voice, whatever, it could be anything. But I bet he has. I bet he's been through every last thing. Bless him. So yeah, just a couple of people there that I met on my travels. Met loads of lovely, lovely people. I'll tell you some more another day. I won't tell you too much about this one, actually. There was a young lad, I was in Glastonbury, Wariel Hill. I went up to Wariel Hill. There was this lost, lone figure. And I say that because he was kind of slumped. And as I got nearer, it was a young lad, and I walked past him, and I just got this vibe, this feeling. He wasn't happy, So I walked past him, and then we walked back, and I wanted to catch his eye, and I didn't. He wasn't looking up. And I thought, well, I'll walk past him again, So I walked past him, and he did look up, And I went like that, and he sort of went, right. So I went over and I said, "You all right?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "But you're not, are you?" And he said, "Not really." I said, "Can I sit down?" Anyway, I won't tell you too much because it's very personal, private and what have you, but essentially what happened was his mum had been in and out of hospital, having tests, things like that. This particular morning, she'd been in overnight, came back in the morning, and she told him and his younger brother that she's got terminal cancer, and it was stage 4 something. I can't remember exactly what it was now. Can't remember. And he said, when she told me, I burst into tears and ran out of the house, and here I am. And I said, right. You know, anyway, I spoke to him about lots to do in life and things like that, you know, for a good maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, you know. And I said, "You're looking and feeling and sounding a bit better, aren't you now?" And he said, "I am, thank you." No, he didn't. He said, "I am." Because he was the only one, probably, I met loads of people, he never said thank you, and that's fine. But right at the very end, he said, you know, I felt like this, I felt the world come to an end, I felt hot, I felt I had to run, I felt this, I felt that. And I said, and I understand all of that, I really do, you know, whatever you had to do, you've done, you know, but that's how you're feeling. I said, what about Mum? How's Mum feeling right now? And he went, "I've got to go." Bless him. And he flew down that hill. He never said thank you, he just flew down the hill. And good for him, you know, because I'm so glad that I was there for him, really. You know, so glad. Poor kid. Don't know how old he was, 16 maybe, something like that. But yeah, I think about him as well. Bless him. Funny the people you meet on your travels. Met, then most of the people that was doing YouTube, met most of them. And on the whole, most of them were absolutely lovely, and I'm really pleased that I've met them all. People turn funny sometimes, don't they? I don't know why, you know. But yeah, I mean, I'm still happy that I met all of them, you know, because it's kind of a needs or a must kind of thing, you know, you're all in the same boat together and it's all quite new and fresh. It's funny how it all started, isn't it, really? You know, there seemed to be lots of van life type people all of a sudden, including me. I was just one of a number. And yeah, we just kind of came from nowhere. All started doing videos the same sort of time and what have you. It's quite weird, quite funny how it all works out. And then, you know, you look at life has moved on, hasn't it, really? I'm now in bricks. You know, my friend Jules is in bricks and a couple of others are in bricks. I don't know, I think most of them have just been their true self with me, bar one really, who certainly wasn't his true self. He took on my persona and somebody else's persona and created his own. Odd, but that's the truth, you know. And then goes and slags me off in a video. Weird. But I mean, yes, that's his problem, not my problem, you know. I couldn't give a shit, could I really? Not important. But on the whole, met some lovely, lovely people. And there's still a number of people that I would like to meet, really. You know, and I think maybe in time I will. And I've also got, through YouTube, really, I've got some really good lifelong friends. You know, Danny, John, Lisa, Marion. The list is endless, really, you know. I don't want to give a list because I'll forget somebody and then they'll be pissed off, you know. But I've got a huge, huge list of friends, really. Yeah, proper, good, decent friends. And there's no way that I would have met them had I not had the channel. So, you know, we've got to be grateful for whatever we've got to be grateful for, really. And like I say, it's just funny how things work out. Right, I'm nearly finished my Slurpee now. So we're off in. And if I can think of any more, I will put a little bit more on here just to sort of finish the video off. But thank you for listening. hope you found that fairly entertaining about me meeting people and what have you. You know, they're all important people in their own rights, aren't they, really? From the young lad, the recluse, to the elderly gent. You know, it's sometimes it's being in the right place, the right time, right place, right vibe, everything else, you know. One other one, I met a guy called William, that was in Barton-on-Sea, and I was walking up this slight slope from the sea, and this guy was rubbing his knee. And I said, it is a bit of a walk, mate, isn't it? And he said, oh, it's not that. I said, what you done then? And he said, I shot a fucking nail through my kneecap, laying a carpet. I said, you haven't? He said, I have. And he said, it bloody hurts. I said, have you had treatment? He said, oh yeah, I've had lots done. Anyway, we got chatting, and people just opened up. All of a sudden, it was quite strange. But anyway, he said, it's William. He was 67 or 69 or something like that, whatever. And it turns out that they hadn't seen their daughter for 2 years. So I said, why not? You know, and he said she's married and her husband doesn't like us and it keeps her away from us. Really, something landed in my ear then. You know, and it was a much, much bigger story than that. And I said, she's your daughter, you've got the right to see her, go and visit. And he said, oh, he might not let us in. I said, it doesn't matter. When you're there, it's different face to face, isn't it? Much different, you know. So go and see her. Hopefully he won't be there, or he'll be in the bath or the loo or out doing something. Perhaps he works, I don't know. You know, go and see your daughter, you know, and don't leave the house until you're absolutely satisfied that your daughter's okay. If she's not, bring her back with you, you know. And he said, we shouldn't we? And I said, yeah. I said, how else are you going to resolve this? You know, he said he wrote to her and he's phoned her dozens of times. She never answers the phone, didn't answer the letter. And I said, probably she doesn't know that you phoned. She may have changed her number, or he may have changed it. And she probably didn't see the letter. He would have intercepted that anyway. And he said, you're absolutely right. He said, that's what we need to do. I said, you do. And he shook my hand, bless him. He said, thank you very much. He said, we're going to do that. Definitely going to do that. And I really hope he did. Really hope so. But it's just being in the right place, right time sometimes, isn't it? Right, we're off in. Take care. Be well. I got my muff diver on because it was slightly windy. I had to fiddle around with this. Ta-da then. Cheers. See you in a bit. Hello. Got to hold this. It's so hot. I've got nowhere to pin this to unless I pin it to one of my nips. This is just to end the video really. Beautiful day, piping hot, so I'm having a fag and a Slurpee before I do much really. Only been up about an hour, which is nice. Had a bit of a lay in. Wow, so beautiful. So a couple of things that I wanted to say really, just to end this video. Krishna Das, if you've never heard of Krishna Das, Krishna and then Das, Krishna Das, he sings kirtans, Kirtan, kirtan. He sings kirtans. Kirtan is something that he sings, then you sing it back. And I love it. I love Krishna Das. I just thought I'd mention Krishna Das, and particularly one song. Bloody flies on my back now. Get off. Yeah, particularly one song that I absolutely love, which is called Saraswati. And a kirtan, he sings the first bit, then you sing, you repeat. Then he sings it again, then you repeat, then he sings it again, you repeat. And it's very samey all the way through, which I love. And it's very good for the soul, good to sing. You know, even if you're not a singer, I'm not a singer. And you can sing quietly. Put it on your PC, look around, make sure nobody's about, and give it a little whirl. Loads and loads of tracks, loads of songs I love by Krishna Das. But Saraswati talks to my soul. It really talks to my soul. Beautiful. And the words are very, very simple in it. As I say, the words are Om, Aim Saraswati Namaha Om. That's it. Om Aim Saraswati Namaha Om. And just repeat that over and over again. Beautiful. Do have a look. I've got Dima Pravel as well. Dima is a woman singer, beautiful. I've got that on the PC at the minute, so I'm kind of listening to that today while I chill out and hide away indoors. Little butterfly there. Hello, come see me. Oh, hello, Bode. I know you're jealous. Oh, Bode, just saying, oh, I wish I was a butterfly. I don't know whether to put it on this video. I think it's going to be too long. In fact, it will be too long. So when I finish on here, if you want to go over to my other channel, Purple Haze, what I've done is I've read a couple of paragraphs of my book. So just gives you a bit of a flavour really as to what's going on there. So yeah, Purple Haze, and it'll be on now really. So as soon as this video is finished, just flip over there if you can be bothered. So that draws us to a bit of a close really. It's getting on for an hour, isn't it? Cheers. We are blessed with a beautiful week. It feels like summer. Oh, the heat of this day. It's bright and early, you know. I don't know what time it is, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Still early. As I said, I had a little bit of a lay-in today. Didn't wake up till 7:50, so not bad. Wow. Little bit of advice: if you've got a dog, don't walk him in the heat of the sun. I walk Bodie if I'm going to walk him. We go out early, bright and early, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, and then again about 9:30 at night. Or we just play in the garden. And the reason why I say that, I was speaking to a dog walker the other day, a woman called Linda, bless her, first ever dog. She's in her 60s, but first ever dog, and she's very unsure of what to do. And I saw her about 2:30, and I said, be a bit careful. I said, with your little dog's pads on the floor. And she looked, she said, oh, what's on the floor? I said, it's piping hot, you know. I said, if you can put your forearm on the floor and it doesn't burn, then take your dog out, you know. I wouldn't be taking my dog out. She said, do you know, I never thought of that. And I said, their pads are so sensitive, you know, they get very hot and they can burn, you know. So early in the morning, late at night, you can take your dog out. Just bear that in mind, really. Okay, so I'm going to finish this video. I wanted to finish it just by mentioning my friend John. I wish you well, John. John's going through some medical issues at the moment, and I'm sure he's concerned and worried, and puts on a big brave face because he's a man. But I do wish you well, John, and I keep in touch with you, obviously, find out what's going on. And also today my friend Marion was in hospital. I don't know if she's staying overnight or whether she's back home and a bit drugged up. But Marion, love you dearly, bless you. Look after yourself, and I'll be in touch at some stage. Alright. Thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and enjoy the rest of this glorious weather. It's absolutely stunning. So thank you. Thank you everybody for whoever watched, and particularly with comments and stuff like that. You know, in the chat room is always nice, but when you sort of leave a comment under my videos, I do really appreciate it. So thank you very much indeed. Okay, I'm going to put the mic down. Be well. Ta-da then. Cheers.